A rumor is spreading through Nigerian political circles right now that, if confirmed, could completely change the entire landscape of the 2027 general election. Something happened to a major presidential candidate over the weekend that has thrown the ADC into chaos and forced the cancellation of their primary election that was supposed to happen on Monday. The candidate has not been seen publicly since submitting his declaration form, and sources say medical professionals are involved. INEC has given parties a hard deadline of May 30th to complete their primaries, and time is running out. By the end of this video, you'll understand why one person's health crisis could reshape the entire presidential race. The 2027 general election is shaping up to be one of the toughest, most competitive, and most consequential elections ever held in Nigeria because millions of citizens are absolutely tired of the current APC government and desperately want change. But instead of the opposition forces uniting together strategically and producing a single strong person that will lead the country and definitively get the APC government out of power, now everyone with political ambitions is emerging and declaring their candidacy, fragmenting the opposition vote and potentially handing the APC an easy victory despite their unpopularity. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is running under the ADC platform. Peter Obi has moved to the NDC and is running there. And now, adding even more complexity to an already crowded field, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is rumored to be seriously considering joining the presidential race, though the party platform he would use remains unclear. However, what we are hearing from sources very close to the ADC leadership, information that has sent shockwaves through political circles and that could fundamentally alter the dynamics of the presidential race, is that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is allegedly the consensus candidate of the ADC and who was expected to cruise to the party's nomination without serious challenge, is seriously ill with a medical condition that has left him unable to campaign or even appear publicly. According to multiple reports from people who have spoken to those close to the former vice president, Atiku fell sick on Saturday and has not recovered or regained his full health and strength since then. His last public appearance was during the submission of his declaration form and expression of interest documents at the ADC national headquarters, where he looked visibly tired and where some observers noted he seemed unwell. Even then, though nobody realized at the time how serious the situation was. The ADC party leadership had scheduled and announced their presidential primary election for Monday, May 18th, expecting to formally nominate Atiku as their candidate in a process that would have been quick and relatively uncontested, given that he was the preferred choice of party elders. But they were completely unable to proceed with holding that primary election as planned, because Atiku's health status remains uncertain, unstable, and hard to determine by doctors who are monitoring his condition. Party officials cannot conduct a primary election to nominate someone who is too sick to attend the event, too sick to give an acceptance speech, and whose medical condition raises serious questions about his ability to campaign vigorously for 9 months and then govern for 4 years if elected. According to sources who claim to have information about the situation, Atiku is quietly receiving intensive medical treatment and monitoring from his personal physician and possibly from a team of medical specialists, though the exact nature of his illness, the severity of his condition, and the prognosis for recovery have not been disclosed publicly. The secrecy surrounding his health has fueled speculation ranging from minor exhaustion that will resolve quickly to much more serious age-related conditions that could end his political career permanently. The ADC leadership, facing pressure from INEC deadlines and from other candidates who are eager to proceed, has fixed a new date for conducting the primary election. If Atiku does not regain his health, recover his strength, and become well enough to participate actively before this rescheduled date arrives, he will effectively be out of the presidential race because other candidates within the ADC, particularly former Rivers State Governor and Transportation Minister Rotimi Amaichi, who has his own presidential ambitions and his own supporters, are absolutely not ready or willing to back down or step aside for the former vice president, simply because of his health challenges or because party elders prefer him. This situation highlights a fundamental problem that the Nigerian political sphere continues to face election after election. Too many elderly people, men who are in their 70s and 80s, who have already had long political careers spanning decades, are still dominating politics and occupying positions that require enormous energy, stamina, and mental sharpness. Atiku Abubakar is 80 years old. President Bola Tinubu is 74 years old and has his own visible health challenges. Senator David Mark and other political heavyweights are all in their 70s. All these people are political elders who, by any reasonable standard, should have been retired years ago and should now be at home having peaceful private moments with their families and grandchildren, enjoying the remaining time of their lives in comfort rather than subjecting themselves to the brutal stress of campaigning and governing. But they remain stubbornly interested in staying relevant in the Nigerian political space, refusing to step aside for younger generations. In contrast, leaders like Peter Obi, who is 65, Rotimi Amaechi, who is 59, and Rabiu Kwankwaso, who is 68, are still middle-aged men by Nigerian standards, vibrant and energetic with the physical health and mental stamina required to govern effectively. It would be far better for Nigeria's future if voters focused on supporting and voting for these relatively younger candidates rather than continuing to support elderly men whose health could fail at any moment and who are, frankly and bluntly, closer to the grave than to a productive political future. The Independent National Electoral Commission has given May 30th as the absolute final deadline, the ultimatum, for all political parties participating in the 2027 general election to complete their primary elections and submit the names of their candidates. If the ADC fails to meet this hard deadline because of one candidate who is experiencing health issues and because party leaders are paralyzed waiting to see if he recovers, it means the entire party won't be on the 2027 presidential ballot at all. They will be disqualified from fielding a candidate. This scenario would actually give Peter Obi, now running on the NDC platform, very much greater chances of winning the coming general election because one of his main competitors will be eliminated not by voters but by administrative failure. All efforts by journalists and political observers to reach Atiku Abubakar directly or to reach his official spokesperson to get clarification about his health condition and his ability to continue in the race have proven completely abortive. Phone calls go unanswered, messages are ignored, and the wall of silence suggests either that the situation is more serious than anyone wants to admit or that his team is deliberately trying to buy time while hoping for recovery. With no time left on the calendar and with INEC's deadline approaching rapidly, the ADC leadership faces an impossible choice. They may likely proceed with holding the primary election anyway and effectively forcing Atiku to resign from the race by nominating someone else in his absence. Or alternatively, they could try to use the consensus candidate mechanism to hand the ticket directly to Atiku without an election, gambling that he will recover enough to campaign, but Rotimi Amaechi will almost certainly refuse to agree to this arrangement and might challenge it legally or leave the party entirely, further splitting the opposition. Should the ADC wait for Atiku to recover and risk missing INEC's deadline, or should they proceed immediately with primaries and nominate Amaechi or another candidate? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like this video, share it so more people know about this health crisis affecting the opposition, and subscribe for updates as this situation unfolds. Stay informed.